Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this high-yield, rapid-fire exam masterclass on the Indus Valley Civilization. Look, if you're gearing up for teaching recruitment exams like CTET, JHET, STET, or really any of the big ones, you already know this topic is absolutely mandatory. So today, we're taking the most heavily tested, must-know facts from the archaeological sources and putting them right on your screen. By the end of this session, you're going to have every single detail you need to completely crush this topic on exam day.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're covering discovery and timelines, geography, their incredible town planning, major sites, the economy, and then we'll lock it all in with a rapid-fire MCQ revision. Let's get to it. Starting off with Section 1, Discovery and Timeline. We need to know exactly when this Bronze Age marvel actually existed. So notice the wild contrast here between early estimates and modern science. Early researchers, guys like John Marshall and Madho Swarup Fats, they had their guesses, but the carbon-14 dating process, that gives us the highly accepted Harappan period of 2300 BC to 1700 BC, with its absolute peak ending around 1900 BC. If you see a timeline question on your test, 2300 to 1700 BC is for sure your golden answer. Now, a heavily repeated question in state PCS and teaching exams is matching these famous archaeologists to their discoveries. You have to memorize these names. Dairam Sanhi surveyed Harappa in 1921 on the Ravi River. And literally the very next year, Rakhaldas Banerjee discovered Mohenjo-daro. Also, keep an eye on the different theories about who actually founded the civilization. Dr. Swarup argued it was the Aryans, while Childe and Wheeler strongly argued for the Sumerians. All right, Section 2, Geography and Boundaries. Let's map out just how massive this civilization was. We're talking about a triangular spread covering about 13 lakh square kilometers. That is bigger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. You absolutely need to memorize this boundary table. It is pure gold for your exams. Examiners love, and I mean love, to test if you know the specific rivers for these extreme points. The absolute northern edge is Manda on the Chenab River. The south hits Daimatabad on the Pravara. Your eastern limit is Alamgirpur in UP on the Hindan River, and the west stretches all the way out to Sutkagendor on the Dasht River in Balochistan. Moving right along to Section 3, Town Planning and Lifestyle. This brings us to their most defining, mind-blowing feature. But first, we need to address a trap that examiners set all the time. They love comparing the peaceful, bronze-using Harappans with the later, iron-wielding Aryans. Remember this, the Indus Valley Civilization was a Bronze Age, highly urban society. They had absolutely zero knowledge of iron, none. They also didn't use horses for warfare, and they didn't wear armor. That was the later, rural, chariot-driving Rigvedic Aryans. Keep that distinction crystal clear in your head. Okay, back to their cities. The most crucial point here is the striking, almost obsessive uniformity. Look at that exact 4:1 dimensional brick ratio. They used that exact ratio across the entire civilization. The roads, like the massive 9.15 meter wide Rajpath and Mohenjo-daro, intersected at perfect right angles in a rigid grid pattern. Their covered drainage system was literally unmatched in the ancient world, and generally, cities were split into a raised citadel for the elites and a lower town for everyone else. Let's jump into Section 4, Major Sites and High-Yield Facts. This is where you can scoop up a ton of quick points on multiple-choice questions. First rule, you must know which city sits on which river. A classic everyday mistake is thinking Harappa is on the Indus River. Actually, scratch that, it's not. Harappa is on the Ravi River, while Mohenjo-daro is the one on the Indus. And Lothal, their incredibly famous port city, that sits on the Bhogwa. Use this list as a mental bridge for your revision. Let's look at the heavyweights. Mohenjo-daro, which translates to Mound of the Dead in Sindhi, gives us the spectacular Great Bath used for ritual bathing, along with the bronze dancing girl, the priest king, and the famous Pashupati seal. Harappa gave us the massive 12-room granary. Meanwhile, Chunhubara was their bustling industrial hub. It's the only place where we found evidence of bead-making, cosmetics like lipstick, and get this, a brick showing the actual footprints of a dog chasing a cat. Remember these associations. Lothal is always your port city. It had a massive brick dockyard and an ivory scale. Kalibangan, over in Rajasthan, gives us the earliest evidence in the world of a plowed field plus fire altars. And Dholavira in Gujarat is a fascinating outlier because it was divided into 3 parts instead of 2, and they totally mastered advanced water harvesting, with these huge rock-cut reservoirs. And whatever you do, don't forget these specific Indian sites. Rocky Gari in Haryana holds the title for the absolute largest site located within modern India. If a question asks where a terracotta toy plow was found, boom, the answer is Banavali. Also, stay updated on Uttar Pradesh sites. Sonoli recently revealed 125 human burials, and Mandi yielded an ancient, massive treasure trove of jewelry. Dabari in Punjab is a key late Harappan site known for painted gray ware. All right, Section 5, Economy, Religion, and Decline. What fueled them, who did they pray to, and why did they just vanish? So, they were master traders with a deeply advanced economy, doing both internal and external trade. Check out where they sourced their materials. Copper was heavily mined in Khetri, Rajasthan. They brought silver from Zawar and Ajmer, and their gold came all the way from Karnataka in South India. They were even importing lazurite from Afghanistan. Now note this very carefully for your exam. Despite worshipping the mother goddess, the sacred peepal tree, and the Pashupati figure, this was a fundamentally secular society. We have found 0 temples. None. The famous Pashupati seal features a 3-faced god surrounded by a rhino, buffalo, elephant, and tiger. But here is the massive exam trick to watch out for. The cow is completely absent from all their seals and terracotta art. Just not there. Also, fun fact, they were the very first people in the world to cultivate cotton, which the Greeks called sindon. As for their mysterious decline, well, theories of massive floods and Aryan invasions have floated around for decades. But a recent, major study by IIT Kharagpur points to climate change. Specifically, a continuous, severe period of low rainfall crippled their agriculture, which eventually led to the total collapse of their urban centers. Okay, Section 6. Time to test your memory. Let's lock all these facts in with a rapid-fire MCQ revision based directly on actual questions from previous teaching and state exams. Ready? Let's go. Question 1. Earliest agriculture? Look for Lahore Deveda dating to 9000 BC. Only fallback to Mehrgar of Lahore Deveda isn't an option. Next, what age are they? They are proto-historic. Why? Because they had a script, but we literally still can't read it. That's why our main source of knowledge is strictly archaeological excavations, like their seals. And remember the golden rule, no cows on those seals. Keep the pace up. If you see port city or dockyard, you instantly lock in Lothal on the Bogwa River. For agriculture, Kalibangan is where we found the actual furrows of a plowed field, but Banawali is where the terracotta toy plow was found. Don't mix those two up. And the Great Bath? That is always Mohenjo-Daro. All right, biggest site in India, Rocky Gari. Watch out for river traps on the exam. The civilization touched the Chenab, the Jhelum, the Ravi, but never ever the Ganga. If a question mentions an elaborate rock-cut water reservoir, you pick Dholavira. And for evidence of unique double burials, go with Lothal or Kalibangan. Don't forget their sacred symbols. The peepal tree was highly revered. And since we're talking about a Bronze Age society, remember that copper was the very first metal used by humans. Geography-wise, Alamgir Port marks the absolute eastern boundary in UP. Finally, if you're asked to identify sites specifically in the Sindh province of Pakistan, Mohenjo-Daro and Chenhu-Daro are your answers. Lastly, keep those recent discoveries in mind, like Sonali's 125 human burials and the Mandi treasure, both in UP. And here's a final trivia trap for you. While the Harappans definitely had a script, it was actually the Sumerians who developed the world's very first proper writing system. Keep reviewing this explainer and you'll absolutely crush this topic. But it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Just imagine what incredible secrets we might unlock if we ever finally decipher that mysterious Harappan script.